Now let's move on to the next session on why brands go tech, Metaverse Matters. We are delighted to have Mr. Kevin Lee, Board Member, Hong Kong Extended Reality Association, Mr. Roger Lee, Senior Director of Ad Creative, Yahoo Creative Studios, Yahoo, Mr. Lucas Cheung, Managing Partner, Gusto Collective, Hong Kong. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our panelists and speakers. They will discuss the tremendous opportunities that the metaverse can offer for brands and the strategies for venturing into the metaverse. Now, please welcome Kevin and the panelists. I will now pass the floor to Kevin. Kevin, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin. I'm the founder and CEO of Resource Creative. It's an honor to be here today to be the moderator of this section. So let me introduce two of our guest speakers today. First of all, Mr. Roger Lee, Senior Director of Ad Creative, Yahoo Creative Studio. Thank you, Roger.
Thanks for having me today.
Yep. And another guest is Mr. Lucas Cheung, Managing Partner, Gusto Collective, Hong Kong.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yep. So today's topic is why brands go tech. Metaverse Matters. So everyone knows that Metaverse is right now is the biggest topic of the world, and a lot of people are very curious about, okay, what can we do and what should we do in the Metaverse? It's very new, so a lot of trial and error and a lot of testings, and I know both of you have been launching some big projects in the metaverse. So it would be great to understand more today. But before we go into details, maybe you can briefly introduce yourself and let the audience know more about you. Okay, Mr. Roger, please.
All right, thanks, Kevin. So my name is Roger. I worked for Yahoo for 17 years. A lot of people just can't believe I worked there for 17 years. So I take care for the role in the company to manage a team called Yahoo Creative Studio. So that team is actually kind of an in-house creative agency team that we help basically connect, to help our client to connect to their audience, to help connecting between different departments inside the company, to just leverage all the assets that we have, like data, content, as well as technology, to help our client eventually to unlock their creativity. So I think our main role here is to get client to embrace all this new technology so that their creativity could be unlocked. So that's basically my role in the company.
Okay, sounds really cool. So Lucas.
So hi everyone, I'm Lucas. I'm the managing partner of Gusto Collective. And day to day, I manage the Hong Kong office here. And we are a very young startup. We only have been born for 2.5 years. And we are the Asia first brand tech group. So by brand tech, what we meant is we help brands to deliver immersive storytelling, via creativities, and also empowered by latest technologies. So we're often quite tech agnostic, but rather we focus on how to deliver a good creative concept and the storytelling, via different medium, including the latest like NFT, Web3, Metaverse, etc.
Okay, sounds very exciting. And so let's go into details. I know that you both launched some big projects recently. So maybe Roger, can you share a little bit more about your big project in Metaverse so we can understand more?
Yeah, it's an experimental big project in a way. So in this case, let me start sharing a screen. So I guess you can all see that. So just a couple months back in June, then we have launched a Metaverse project called Yahoo Metaverse Week. So essentially, this is a project that to connect our user and help them getting into a metaverse. So we call it Electric City. So this is actually a virtual city that we built in one of the metaverse world, which is called Decentraland. So what we do, we have created a 3D model for the entire building, which is the Electric City building, and have different kind of activities in each of the floor. So we have the lobby, we have a social gathering space, we have NFT gallery, we also have a music event place on the rooftop of the building. And also we created a basketball court because in this project we want to bring the Hong Kong element in the metaverse to our Hong Kong user. So we decided to recreate one of the very iconic basketball court located in Kwun Tong in the Metaverse. And inside that, we have several different kind of events, which with the purpose to just engage the user going into the Metaverse. So we have an NFT art gallery, also having a musical event with a local celebrity. We have the scavenger hunt game that to just engage the user in the Metaverse to have some fun, to not just walk around the places, but really with a purpose, and eventually have a basketball event. So we invited one of the very local girl idol group, which is called After Class. So this is actually the first time they have a virtual avatar in the Metaverse world. So we invited them to host a musical event on the rooftop of the building. And then we also have press release with these 3 girls, and I think everyone was just amazed when they see their own avatar in the Metaverse world. We also have invited 4 of the local artists. Actually, one of that artists were presented earlier today morning to have their creation show up in the exhibition hall. So to present the idea of the past of Kwun Tong. So we invited them with, to create different kind of artwork around Kwun Tong in an immersive way, and then make them into NFT. And then we have a scavenger hunt game, which we have placed like 10 basketball around the Metaverse world. So for those who can collect 6 of them or above, then they can actually get a POAP so that they can show up in their social network. And also we gave them an NFT version of basketball jersey. So we invited a German artist, Andy Kallenberg, to create a free limited edition of the basketball jersey. So the participant in that game who collected 6 basketball will be given an NFT. The other aspect of this project is to show the idea of a borderless experience. Basically, Metaverse is not a world for just particular market or country. So we also have lined up with one of the celebrity in Taiwan, the Prince, to host an interview around NBA basketball. We also have invited a local sport host, Nga Him, so to just have an interview inside the Metaverse together. So to attract the audience going into the Metaverse and just to understand better around basketball inside the basketball court. So this is another thing that we learned that is very important. So eventually we have to attract users going into the Metaverse with a really strong reason. So we actually adopt a pretty traditional way of promotion. Just invite a YouTuber, face like pie. So to connect their audience and get them trying out walking around in the Metaverse and playing the game. So we got a pretty good result, and a lot of people actually was brought in from their connection. Yeah, so that is the jersey that I just mentioned, which have a pretty good result. So eventually we have more than 4,000 POAP will redeem. So in comparing with a lot of different other Metaverse projects, I think this is a pretty good result. All right, so that's, I think, the end of my slide.
So I can see that it's a very good project as a trial project. But at the same time, I would like to ask, I know you're trying to be a hub for your clients to enter into the Metaverse, but the whole Metaverse thing is still very new. A lot of like uncertainty. You won't know how many users will there be. And maybe if you're talking about NFT, there will be some concerns on wallet and stuff. I would like to know, how do you convince your clients to work together with you on this like trial program? I think it's not that easy, right?
Oh, absolutely, this is challenging. So like, when we talk to our client, I think like 8 out of 10, they heard of what Metaverse is, but only maybe 1 out of these 8 client that they know a little bit more what actually the metaverse is about. So one of our job in the company is to educate. So I think first of all, we are not hard selling them, like just buy the solution that work with us on the metaverse project. But first of all, to understand their needs and educate what is that about. That's really the first step, very important. Secondly, is to really work hand in hand with them to consult them. Do they really need to go into a metaverse? So this day, I think metaverse, this is definitely a hot topic. But in reality, not every client really need that. So we found that, in fact, most of the client doesn't really require to build a whole new world in the metaverse. But more of like kind of a Web 2.5 or Web 2.1 when I just talked to Gesto, kind of project to try out a little bit around the immersive and metaverse experience, to just show them the value, how the metaverse will bring them first before they can really jump into the whole metaverse world for their campaign. I think that's what we are trying to do to convince them.
Okay, good. Talking about trial and talking about from Web 2.0 to 2.5 to Web 3, I know, Lucas, you do have some insights to share with us, right?
Yeah, so unlike Roger here, who has very diligently prepared, an amazing presentation, I guess I'll just have to talk my way out of this. So, recently we have done this amazing project with the celebrity Louis Koo and the One Cool Group regarding their film Warriors of Future. So, just some quick learning from the whole process. We think people talks about Web3, Metaverse, NFT, all these buzzwords nowadays, every single day. But it's actually all a means to an end, right? When you think about it. Ultimately, what is important for brands is about what experiences, what content are you trying to deliver to your end customer. So every time we begin to strategize something, like this for brands, for our client, we begin with, what story are we trying to tell? How we want to transform this brand or transform this IP into some truly amazing, engaging experience to our end user, right? So for our case, for example, we begin with this whole NFT concept, but the end of what we did is way more than just NFT. We actually developed a whole 360, very holistic program involving, building up the community in Discord. Very fortunately, we got like 30,000 members right now. Building up the NFT, but also building up a mobile game. A lot of people ask me this before, why are you guys building up a mobile game? Do you want to do GameFi? Do you want to do token? But it's actually very simple, right? Mobile game is an excellent channel for your IP, for your brands to can get in touch with the mass audience from our perspective. Because when you look at NFT, when you look at Metaverse, when you look at Sandbox, etc., actually not that many people. They are still the niche audience where they are very familiar with MetaMask, very familiar with all these crypto wallet, and can have the access to all this Web3 platform. The mobile game is simple, right? Everyone got an iPhone, everyone got an Android phone. You can go on, you can download, and we build up this whole basically hybrid mobile game where you can connect your NFT, use it as your avatar. But even if you don't have an NFT, you can still just download the game, play around, experience the content, and then you can get to see, hey, this guy looks really cool. And the reason why is because he got this NFT. And then you begin to have a gateway to let the mass audience to touch upon what NFT is, what they can empower, what sort of experience they can bring to the end customer. I think obviously the most interesting learning about this project is we went through the most bearish market and the most bullish market throughout this whole last year while we were launching this campaign. And obviously we need to pivot a lot. And we sort of tuned down the whole Web3 element into it, where I think we want to focus on how we could educate the mass audience about what all this Web3 platform is about, how to integrate Web3 with some sort of Web2 element so that we can deliver, create more touch points, create more channel for the mass audience to experience all this. And hence, we, in the last 2 months, we have collaborated with 7-Eleven in Hong Kong. We collaborated with Yahoo, one of the leading e-commerce platform here. We even created a booth in the Hong Kong Computer festival to really showcase what we have built so we can create this holistic Web 2.5 experience to the end user.
Okay, sounds really cool. And as you just mentioned a word, which I think is a very important word, community. And I know your team has been very experienced for like decades in advertising and like creative industry for the big brands. And right now, you know, for the past 2 years, we're talking about a lot of communities like managing your own Discord, and doing AMA, Ask Me Anything sections. And this is quite regular, it's like a regular thing right now in the NFT community. Yeah. But for the big brands, the traditional big brands, how do you communicate or educate them? You know, is totally new. What they're thinking about is a fan page on Facebook. Right now, you're talking about community where you need to put a lot of efforts on a daily or weekly basis to maintain your community. I think it's a very brand new approach for these traditional clients. So how do you work with them?
I think one of the really key concepts that brands need to understand is what does this community represent. And from our perspective, it might not be right. Community ultimately is your super loyalty fans club, right? Whether it's via Discord, via Twitter, via Instagram, via Facebook, via Sandbox, it's all just the channel to how you can engage this audience. But ultimately, why brands cares about building up community and why they are trying to, a lot of brands has adapt to building up their own Discord, right? Opening up their own Discord, whether it's Adidas, whether it's different luxury brand out there. I mean, it's because the conversion, right? You got a lot more engagement there, and you get a really high conversion rate with this audience out there. And lastly, is the target audience group, right? If you set up a page on Instagram, on Facebook, you might get 1 million people to follow you. Maybe half of them are fake, maybe some of them are bot, but maybe a lot of them aren't really the people you are targeting anymore, especially right now. A lot of the data policy has been tightened in the last few years. And the good thing about Discord is when you have people daily engaging them, you don't need to really put a tag on them, but you know them a lot more. And you build up a much more deeper bond, which represent commercially a much higher conversion rate, which is actually very difficult to build. I mean, I've went through this in the past year, doing loads of AMA, in the midnight in Hong Kong, in AM, in like 2 a.m., 5 a.m. But ultimately, I think it's all worth it. And it's kind of like when you want to build Discord, for example, it's about building the right culture to curate this community.
Okay, so last of all, I know both of you have been a very successful trial campaign, if you say so, which I think is a very successful campaigns already. And can you, let's say in around 1.5 minutes, to share the future plan of what you're going to do? Starting with this plan, okay, right now it's very successful, so what's next, Roger?
I think for us in Yahoo, we take Metaverse is definitely an opportunity because from a lot of different research, we saw that this is where particularly Gen Z going into. So we will continue create a lot of different experimental projects. As a matter of fact, just I think last month that we have launched an NFT program together with SAA, Society for Abandoned Animal, to just try to help the community through NFT. So we don't know whether this will be successful. As a matter of fact, that was not a good timing to launch it, but we want to try still to really understand if this kind of project would be successful taking this with this approach. So we will continue having more experimental project, learning ourselves, and then share back to our client the best practices. This is one. And the other thing is education. So we have a very strong content network. So we have news, we have sport, we have all these different kind of content network. So we have a strong editorial team. So this is also another way that we have a lot of focus into like putting up a lot of different articles to educate the mass. Lastly, I think it's about our ad tech. So we will further enhance our ad technology to just make it really, really easy for our client to adopt. So one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of brands to adopt is just a high cost and time consuming. So we want to solve that. We want to bring it down in terms of time and cost so that they can at least try and understand how to make it work by themselves and then eventually get more into all this new technology.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Lucas.
So I think with regards to the project we have been doing with One Cool Group, which is called One Cool Collective, will definitely continue to develop, to explore the possibility of bringing more entertainment IP into the world of Web3 and creating more Web 2.5 experience. In terms of Gusto, obviously, we would love to work with many, many more brands to help them explore the space, with our creativity, with our storytelling, but obviously working with different partners as well, and hopefully like Yahoo with Roger here, that we could deliver more content and experience to them and to the end user. So with that, thank you very much. And last point, I've actually published an article today, just writing up a summary of my journey, building up this Web 2.5 project throughout the past years. So if anyone is interested to know more about the details, feel free to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's check it out. Let's search, let's Google for Lucas Cheung for article today. Okay, so it's about time for today, and thank you very much for the guests. And please
thank you so much
give
for having me.
Big applause to our guest speakers today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and pass the time to the MC. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin, and our panelists for your very great insights on why brands should go tech and the informative sharing on Metaverse Matters. Thank you so much.